Hello, this is RV Vagabond Jerry, and I am in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. And what I'm going to do here today is take a boat tour along the river here, which is the St. Mary's River, and then the boat is going to go through a lock to get into Lake Superior. And then we're going to cruise a little around in Lake Superior, and then come back through the lock again and back to the boat dock right here. So hop aboard the boat with me, and let's see what the shores on both the US and Canadian sides look like around Sault Ste. Marie. Right next to the boat dock is this really huge building.
I'd like to introduce the crew to you this time. My name is Dee.
And that huge building is a water
processing
processing plant
I imagine we'll do the lower harbor while we're waiting.
at Sault Ste. Marie, Canada,
over to the left,
which is much larger than Sault Ste. Marie,
that is the Museum
Michigan.
Valley Camp, formerly owned by the Republic Steel Corporation. The Valley Camp is now a marine museum. Contained in the display area of the cargo hold are 4 1,200-gallon aquariums stocked with fish native to the Great Lakes and a recovered lifeboat from the freighter Edmund Fitzgerald. The Fitz sank during a severe storm on November 10th, 1975. He sent a copy of one of his books to his cousin, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, and that became the inspiration for Longfellow's epic poem, Hiawatha. The red house next to it.
Here's the International
The red
Bridge
house next
right
to the
there.
Schoolcraft home was the home of missionary Frederick Baraga. Baraga spoke 7 languages, including Ottawa.
They're a couple of feet too wide and 10 feet too long, and that's the case with the
This tour is only going along this river, which is the river that connects Lake Huron with Lake Superior.
The old locks are in front of us.
And we're actually going to be going through this lock.
The Sabin was finished in 1919. They are 13.
Going to zoom in on the lock here. I thought the announcer said we were going to be going through the lock, but nope, we're turning around. We're actually leaving the locks there and going around the other side of this peninsula, I think it is. Heading straight for Canada. That big building I showed you at the beginning is really mostly used for power generation. Somehow using the water from the river here, even though there's certainly no waterfall. And off to the left is a big ship that is headed for the lock. And just past the highway bridge going over to Canada is a railroad bridge you can see in the distance there.
The tent serves as an outdoor gathering place, and the red brick building houses many offices.
That's Canadian side.
A lock for big ships, but it never got improved very much over the years. She's going to blow us. Let's see what we're going to answer. And it's the K.E. Barker. Somebody told me it was the Overstar. I did this the other day.
This is the American side.
Different story. Still sails for Interlake, but the K.E. was built in 1952. She's 767 feet long, 70 feet long.
And there's the
and she before
power plant.
sailing for Interlake. All these folks here on the right side are getting ready to, they'll pull right up to the wall, and one of them is going to have to basically rappel on a bosun's chair down to the dock so they can walk with the lines until they get up to the lock.
That is a really long boat.
Back in 1924,
and flown into the rugged bush country north of Sault, Ontario by former World War I pilots. They could also carry supplies and rescue people during emergencies.
This is back looking at the Canadian side.
Walking and skateboarding and bicycling. There's a trail that goes all the way
You know
around
what bush planes are?
Ontario, 16 miles here.
You might want to look that up.
Doing their exercise out here.
There's a harbor park on the Canadian side. This is the St. Mary's River, and look how huge it is. They not only have great lakes here, they have great rivers here. And those pile of boulders is on the Canadian side. The U.S.-Canadian border is right this side of those pile of boulders. That lady there is doing the narrating while the man there is driving the boat.
But MCM too has all sorts of vessels for any job that needs to be done down here. They're real good about buying Corps of Engineers equipment. That crane sitting on the dock there has got Corps of Engineers colors on it yet, and they bought an old barge that also belonged to the Corps, and that's being rented out to the construction company up above the lock. This is another campground. This one is Sault Ste's campground, but it is privately owned. The city of Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan has a long and colorful history. A young French soldier by the name of Etienne Brulé arrived here in 1620. The same year the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth Rock and was the first known European to see Lake Superior. In 1668, Father Marquette arrived here to carry the message of Christianity to the Native Americans of the area. Soon, fur trading posts were established, iron and copper were discovered in the Upper Peninsula, the lumber industry began, and the settlement of Sault Ste. Marie started to grow.
Charming location for an RV park. You just sit there and watch the boats go by.
Made out of bricks from the old Sioux Brewing Company, which used to be in that location from 1905 to about World War II. It was a rough time for a brewery between Prohibition and the Great Depression and so on, so several different owners had it, but it drops 19 feet through the plant, makes the turbines go in, makes the power. The building was made out of red sandstone that was unearthed.
The announcer said that this is the longest power plant building in the world. Wow.
Where they do research, tagging, and a limited stocking program of various species of fish, including a...
This is our tour boat dock right there.
The green building up there
right
is
beside
the Hickler or the Bay City Hotel, which was built in 1889 and was used for many years when cruise ships were coming in here all the time. They're doing it again.
And that ship,
unfortunately, the Hickler Hotel
is a museum ship.
Needs some renovations right now. It was used for apartments for quite a while. The bar downstairs.
It's only used as a museum.
Hockey games, you could hop over there.
Permanently docked there.
But
the name of the ship is the Valley
So we'll be
Camp.
watching up here for the Samuel de Champlain to come out. That barge, what did I say, innovation. The barge is the innovation and the Samuel de Champlain is the tugboat. And they run for Andre Incorporated of Muskegon, Michigan. But they're owned by
Coast Guard
barge.
ship. Here's the front of the Valley Camp that shows the name on it. I was thinking about taking the tour on that Valley Camp ship, but I've recently been on some tour boats like that, tour ships, so I thought this cruise would be a little more interesting. This is the ship I showed you earlier, and it looks like it has just stopped its engines, waiting for the signal to go through the lock, I'm sure. Otherwise, why would it just stop here? Well, here it's easy to tell which is the American side. I don't think I've seen a flag hung that way before. Well, our tour boat has been going back and forth from our docking point, and now they've decided, yes, we are going to go through the lock here. Well, it seems that we have an audience here. That's a lot of people just hanging around watching us go into the lock. We've moved right up against the front lock, and now the lock is so long they're letting at least one more boat come up behind us, so we'll have two boats in the lock. So this guy is roping that boat up against the edge, and there's another boat coming in behind him. That's another tour boat, so there's going to be three of us, and it's so wide they've got us all off to one side here. So now they're closing the back gates.
We are the original Sault Ste boat tour, started 88 years ago by the Welch family. But as I said, we were purchased in December by Interlake.
Well, now it's almost filled up, and you can see a higher lake level there. And the announcer told me that the reason why they have the locks here is because on the other side there, it was much more shallow, and there are big rocks in the bottom that boats would hit. So they have to keep a higher lake level past the lock here, so the big boats don't hit bottom on the rocks. So now the locks are starting to open for us.
If you look ahead of us there, you see the gates are opening. We've been raised to 21 foot up to the lake superior level.
21-foot difference in the lake, the river level. So we made it through the lock. I think that ship is waiting for its turn to go the other direction. Looks like this is a motorcycle club. That's not a real lighthouse. That's a mini golf course. Oh, you can park your RVs right along the water here. Wish I'd have known that. Although overnight, not sure. I doubt it.
Large counterweights of concrete, 40 horsepower motor raises them up and down, and a 10 horsepower motor locks them together before trains cross over. The original parts of the bridge built in 1887 are next to the right, and then way over in the city. They put it on a railroad train that was specially.
So this is my very first sighting of Lake Superior in my whole life. First time here. The announcer said that this island used to not be here. It was created just to be a waste dump. Just like a city dump right in the middle of Lake Superior.
Industry, Sault Ste. Ontario.
This is a steel plant.
We'll tell you more about what you're seeing
on the Canadian side. So now we're getting ready to go back through the lock again. They're tying us down, and then they'll drain all this and then open up the gate and we can finally head back to our dock. Look at this big building right here in the middle of everything, and another one.
Boat has completed docking. We're going to be backing down into the slip where we started out today, right where we started. Also, please take a moment to take a look around and make sure you have not left any personal articles with us. We thank you very much for sailing with us here at famous Sault Ste. Boat Tours. Please do remember to watch your heavy stuff as you depart the vessel. If you would like to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, you can look for us at Famous Sulaks, S-O-O, 2 S's.
Well, now we're pulling back into our dock, and this has been a 3.5 hour tour. They say it varies a lot from under 2 hours up to 5 hours, all depending on how it goes with the locks. And here's a bunch of people waiting to board our boat once we get off. Well, this has been an interesting day. Good day, folks.